Howdy folks, today is Tuesday, September 16th. It is just after 5 p.m. and the temperature today is around 23 degrees Celsius. And I'm here at the intersection of Dundas Street West and Spadina Avenue. And we are in Chinatown at the moment. Well, at least I am. You're probably somewhere else. But for this one, I'll be taking a walk through the Alexandra Park neighborhood. So I'll be making my way south a block, and then meandering around the residential part of the neighborhood. And I'll be finishing up probably right back around where I am starting. There's the Dragon City Mall. So we are here, and we're just gonna go walk through Alexandra Park. It's a neighborhood undergoing quite a bit of change. It's got a really interesting history, and I'll touch on some of that. It also has a reputation for crime, and I looked up the stats, and apparently it's about 28% above average for the city, but violent crime is below average. So make of that what you will. So we're going to start by heading into Willison Square here. And there's a massive redevelopment project underway in Alexandra Park. So we'll check out the progress of that. It's been a while since I've been through here. And there's an old apartment building just here on the right. It looks like it's had a new facade slapped onto it. That is over 100 years old. And it's got that exterior staircase. It's almost a shame they slapped a new facade on it. It had a really neat exterior. It was in the Edwardian and Georgian Revival style. We're going to head south here down through Cameron Street. And this is a neighborhood known for having a lot of public housing as well as housing cooperatives. And just before I get going down Cameron Street, just want to take a quick look at this mural here. Right next to a hot pot restaurant. There's the Alexandra Park Community Center. And that leads into a large cooperative housing development. I think it was the first of its kind in Canada to change hands from being purely public housing to a cooperative. The population here is somewhere between 4,500 and 5,000 residents. Some kids enjoying the playground. That's the backside of the Chinatown Center. And that used to be the backside of a Super 8 hotel. The city took it over and turned it into public housing. I think that one has a focus on youth housing. But this was originally full of large Victorian estates in the 1800s. This mural was created to honor the community work of Sonny Atkinson, who was a longtime resident of the Alexandra Park community. In fact, the co-op is called the Atkinson Co-op, the one that faces Dundas Street West. We'll be walking around the outside of that. And in the 20s and 30s, it shifted to being mostly a working class neighborhood. There were a lot of Ukrainian and Polish immigrants. And in the 1960s, a lot of public housing went up here. And these buildings on the right, I believe, were the first pieces of the redevelopment of Alexandra Park. I think that is SQ1, developed by Tridel. And that's a mix of rent geared to income homes as well as market rate condos. And we'll be walking through, or I will be walking through, I gotta stop saying we, Alexandra Park itself a little bit later on. And that is Queen Street West, just straight ahead. But I think we're gonna cut through this alley here. On the corner there is the Cameron House. There's a neat view of the CN Tower. And this building here was a hotel originally in the 1920s. And it's since become a pub and music venue. But let's take this alley over a street. So this is the backside of a number of businesses that front Queen Street West. And Alexandra Park itself is bordered by Dundas Street to the north, Spadina to the east, Queen to the south, and Bathurst to the west. And I believe this is Vinali Street. And at the far end of the street is the Atkinson Housing Co-op. And that would be the SQ2 building built by Tridel. And this apartment here, 20 Vinali Street, I believe that one's had a whole new facade about 8 or 9 years ago. It looks quite different than what it used to. Oh, no shit. There's a lot of colorful art. The neighborhood just to the north of here, Kensington Market, kind of has a similar vibe. At least in terms of the alleys and all the street art. Let's take a quick glimpse at Queen Street West. This is often a very vibrant and lively part of the city. There's a look east. And coming up should be Augusta Avenue, so we'll head north there. They buy sneakers. We'll get out of this nasty sun glare. This is Augusta. We'll head north here up to Grange Avenue. Just south of here is the Waterworks development on Richmond Street, as well as Graffiti Alley. Neat backyard patio spot. And Augusta Avenue gets cut off by the Atkinson Co-op straight ahead. It does continue on the other side. And I believe at one point in time this historic home here was home to a group of nuns, if I'm not mistaken. This whole area was full of grand old homes like that. That's part of the redevelopment. This is a highly diverse neighborhood, like many in the city. Census data shows that Cantonese and Mandarin are some of the most commonly spoken languages here, as well as Vietnamese, Bengali, Somali, and Portuguese. There's one of those developments that goes back to the 60s. It's the Randy Padmore Park Playground. My camera just bugged out for a moment. There's part of the Atkinson Housing Co-op. And there's a tuck shop in there. So this neighborhood revitalization has been in the works since 2008. Those first towers, we saw the SQ towers, were started back in 2014. And the latest phase is just up ahead.
What is it? Oh, sorry. Leave me playing. Just enjoying his life.
Mommy, daddy, daddy. Daddy, daddy.
Gabriel, how old is Gabriel? How old is he?
So the goal was to replace and or refurbish all the original public housing units and reincorporate them into these newer developments. This is Grange Avenue, which is actually cut off by the development. That continues over near Spadina. There's a look at the old and the new. There's a similar story taking place over in Regent Park, which also has a similar past. I'll have to revisit Regent Park and do an updated video at some point. I don't think this last phase of the project is supposed to complete entirely until the 2030s. And this here is Denison Avenue. So we'll head south here, but there is Ryerson Public School. And the name Ryerson has been somewhat controversial. Ryerson University was renamed TMU. And I believe there are plans to rename this school as well. But this street is named after the Denison family, who owned large tracts of land in this area in the 1800s.
Stop.
I wanted to take a look at this artwork here on the left. I think this is a really nice street. It's tree lined. Some really nice old homes. This is Carr Street with 2 R's. I believe this might be public housing. Or at least was. I think it's now part of the Alexandra Co-op.
Something like that.
There's an old Polish church here. That dates back to 1879. I won't lie, I'm a little more into this view with the tower in the backdrop. Some Victorian era buildings. And that is Bathurst Street off in the distance, a major north-south route. We're going to head north here at Ryerson Avenue. And that building there is occupied by a theater group, TPM. Theater Passe Mural. Probably pronounced that wrong. That translates to Theater Beyond Walls. It was originally home to a bakery and stables. And we have the Toronto School of Art. I think I remember reading that's been a theater space since the 1960s. And I really couldn't tell you anything about the Toronto School of Art. But I do know Alexandra Park itself is straight ahead, as well as one of the more affordable downtown hotels, if not the most affordable. Well, I can think of a few that might be a little cheaper. It's the Alexandra Park Hotel. It's got a solid 2-star rating. I think rooms go for about $150 a night. There is Egerton Lane. I know someone who's actually staying at this hotel this coming weekend. And into Alexandra Park itself. This pollinator-friendly habitat was created by the Friends of Alexandra Park and Scadding Court Community Centre with support from the City of Toronto Pollinate TO program. Welcome to the Alexandra Park Diversity Garden. I remember coming here during the pandemic. That would have been that 2021 walk I recorded. And this whole area was the scene of a large encampment. And there were a couple of outreach workers offering soup. And they asked me if I wanted some. I politely declined. There's a big swimming pool over there, and it looks like it's open. There's a skate park, a pickleball court, a community center, a library, outdoor ice skating, a splash pad. So it's quite the full-featured park. An open public swimming pool in Toronto in August. So we're going to head over to Bathurst Street. This park itself was created back in 1904. And it was named after Queen Alexandra. There's a basketball court. There's an ice skating rink. And that pickleball court is a very new addition to Alexandra Park. And this land itself was originally part of the estate of a name I cannot pronounce probably, Sir Kazimierz Guzowski.
Whatever, like you want a house dog. This other dog, this other trainer, it's like you also wanted to have a small presence.
And I believe he had a large manor on the corner here that has since been turned into a library and community center. There's the Scatting Court Community Center. And we are on the very west end of downtown. This is Bathurst Street, and just to the north is Dundas Street. I was going to head north up here past the library, but I don't think I've ever walked through this way over to Dundas Street. So let's see where this leads us. There's a number of street food stalls just up ahead. That's been a neat addition to this community. Mexican. Photography studio. There's Korean over there. There's some more that way. There's a poutine stall and a few others. That's what I get for cutting through that area. We skip all of them. I've walked past them in other videos somewhat recently anyways. And this is the north end of Alexandra Park. And the neighborhood on the north side of Dundas is one of the most well-known in the city. I wouldn't say that about Alexandra Park, but I would about Kensington Market. And that kind of blends into Chinatown. There's Green's Vegetarian Restaurant. That one's been there forever.
The connection.
My only gripe with this area is how hokey and infrequent the Dundas Street streetcar is. There's one of the Phase 2 buildings completed, or nearing completion. It looks like there's going to be retail. I wish instead of glass, they went with something that provided more shade. And hopefully there's going to be a lot of greenery here. About a year ago, or it might have been earlier this year, there was a fire across the street. This is Augusta Avenue. The old co-op on the left. I think eventually these are going to get taken down. And the residents who are displaced will be offered temporary accommodations and then relocated back into the newer building once it's completed. This building looks like it's already being boarded up. You know what? Let's cut through here. I was just going to walk along Dundas over to Spadina, but this is an Alexandra Park walk after all, so let's keep going through here. And I know this is home for some people, and I don't want to offend anyone, but it's certainly not a very inviting space. There's a problem with a lot of the community housing projects. They kind of cut things off and isolated them from the city more than integrate people with it. There's that playground we walked by at the start of the video. I wonder if we can get back to Dundas going this way. Satellite dish. We can. I have never been around this part. And back into the thick of Chinatown. Where I think I'm going to try to catch a 510 Spadina streetcar northbound up to line 2. So to do that, I want to be on that platform over there. Looks like there's a number of people waiting, so there's probably a streetcar due soon. They're pretty common or frequent on Spadina. I see one kind of down there. So on that note, I hope you enjoyed this walk around and through the Alexandra Park neighborhood. I look forward to your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support what I do, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership down in the description. I've got an Instagram account at Johnny Strides, and there is a super thanks button appearing down below if you wish to say thanks that way. I'm gonna stand here like a chump and wait for the next streetcar. Which is just a few blocks to the south. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Yoink.